Hello, it's Joe Glines, and today we're going to be covering this new QuerySelectorAll way to access web scraping stuff. And it's from the CSS selector type things, which is honestly, it's just beyond me as far as explaining exactly what that is. But it opens up a lot of doors and it's much more flexible than the get element by ID and get element by tag name and things like that. So let's start it off. First, I'm going to start off with an example here. And by the way, on this post here, you can go get a link for the web scraping syntax writer in case you want that, or watch the first video and you'll see it demonstrated there. We're going to start off talking about. And these are the other links are resources to pages that I use to help build all this out. A couple of them, especially. This one is pretty cool because you can dynamically click something and see how it's highlighting the stuff. It helps you kind of understand what you're doing when you're using the query select. So let's get going. And what I've done is I've broken down. I've created different subgroups, and so this will make it a little easier for us to stay focused on different things. And I want to start off on the high level here. This is not actually using the QuerySelectorAll, right? It's using the normal document element and DOM tree, and that's the normal way I would get it. Also, I'm using for things that have a lot of output. So let me save this. I'm going to reload it and run it. Let me delete this out. You'll see it. It'll. Oh, what's going on there? Okay, I realized I had commented out my my first Go sub to this. What I wanted to point out was the start page. If you scroll down to the bottom of my function or the script, which I'll put online, is it's making sure that this is the constant page you're starting from because that's what the rest of the script is built off of. And real quickly here it says, okay, get a pointer to the browser. If the current, store this in page. If page does not equal this URL, navigate to it and wait until you do, and then continue on. So that's that. This site output, this is a function I wrote, which basically allows you to dump text here instead of like to a GUI or a message box. So when there's a lot of text, I like dumping it in here. It's just easier to see big bulk things instead of trying to put it into a GUI and resize it and trying to use a message box, which when there's a lot of text, it looks kind of crazy. Alright, so in this one, again, I'll delete this, and just so you have some idea of what it is, this is my contact me page. I picked it just not because I care that I want people to contact me, it's just that it has a lot less stuff than the other pages, so I thought there'd probably be less HTML, a little easier to focus on. So, but I'm not going to focus. Normally, I show how to use the IE tool and to drag and stuff. If you're new to using this tool, this IWB2 Learner, and how to use this, and the zoom. Let me zoom into 100% here, so you'll see how it works a little bit better. Come on. If you're new to it, go back and watch. I think my first tutorial I talked through a lot of how to use it. However, it does not display the QSS stuff. You'll still use a lot of the same elements and everything in this new way to access it, but it just adds a lot of flexibility. So I'm not going to go through dragging it. I'm just going to go through the syntax. Alright, back into it. So this is the old way. And this is going to dump it into my site output window, and it's saying look for all the HTML, the very first one. There's only one in this case, but and it dumps it to this output window. So you'll notice here, if we scroll all the way top, it starts with the HTML tag, right? Which, to differentiate that, if I look for body, and let's see, where is body here? Body. Should be somewhere pretty close to the top. I'm not sure if I can do a search. No, I can't do a search down there. I'm not seeing body, title. Doesn't really matter, but it would have helped point it out a bit So we'll just jump to the next one. So if I disable this one and I turn on the body and I reload it, you'll notice now it no longer starts at the very beginning. I didn't save it. So see HTML tag here, reload. Now see it says body class, right? So that's just telling it instead of getting the whole the head, get the body, right? So I can purposely exclude the head on all the tags there if I want to, so I can start there. Or let's say I wanted to get the first image. Oh, and you know what? Image is a good example here. So I'm going to get the first one. Let me save this, reload it. So now I'm dumping it. Notice here I changed to a message box, right? This first one is this LinkedIn PNG, right? Let me get that. Now, if I was to change this to 1, it goes to the next one, which is YouTube. And if I go to the second, which is the third, right, because it starts at 0 based, it's Twitter. And we can probably see these up in here because I think these are, so here's YouTube, but in LinkedIn right here, right. What I wanted to point out was this selector all. This is like the get elements by ID instead of get element. If we change this to selector, and if I drop out this index, when I load it, it'll get the first one. The thing is, it'll only get you the first one, and you can't tell it get me the second one or the third one. So in this entire tutorial, even though that often, hey, you just want the first one, right? And that's a little bit tighter, but you know what? I would rather just learn one way to do this instead of learn different ways and have different code. This way I know the selector all and just put it as 0 base, which will get the first one. Makes it much easier. And here, I'm going to show an example of, this is if I was getting the number, the count of how many images there are. I forgot to save it, sorry. Alright, so there's 22 images on that page. And here is an example where I'm going to say, I'm going to store the length, so that 22, right, it's going to still do a mess. You know what, let's get rid of the message box because we already saw it. So there's 22, and then I'm going to take that 22 and store it in this len, and then I'm going to loop over, oh actually, boy, I don't even need that because I put it right here, right? So this is going to be the length. So it's going to loop over this next line 22 times because I don't have brackets. It's only going to do that first line, which means I should really make this a little more like that. And it's going to iterate, starting at -1. It's going to iterate over each image, putting an index at the beginning, so it'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for each one, right? Separated by a tab, and then put a line break or line return new line feed at the end. And it's going to dump into my output window. So here, if I reload this and run it, so here are the 22 images, and I had href here, so it's getting me that the href, and so that's a quick, easy way to iterate over all of these. And of course, this works with any type of an object that has an array of items. So you can loop over the different tag names, different you name it. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff, links and images and paragraphs and names. It'll go on and on, right? So that's the first high level. Nothing too exciting here. You can do all the stuff in the other ones. They all work fine. I read some other stuff on the performance that the other one's a little faster. The get elements by ID and stuff is typically a bit faster. It's also, this is static when it grabs it from the page, so it won't, the nodes don't get updated, but I don't, in my tests, it's rare where I care, because I usually just am grabbing something from the page or setting it, but I'm not dynamically updating my page and then worrying that I go back to grab it again on that same time and it's not updating, so I don't really care about that. So let's stop with the high level, which again was nothing too exciting, and a quick demo here on the radio checkboxes. So this selector all, and what you do is you put an option, right? I kind of remember to save it. So this select category, if we come back to here, that is this select category. And again, let's see here. So let's see if I can get a little screenshot here and come back into here. And so we iterate, go up to the next one with any luck. It says, so there's the 48, and to the left is analytics. Let's change this to so this should look a little better. There we go. Or the second one, right? So there's 36. So that's how you can go grab specific things there. I have the code here for grabbing if you want the checked or unchecked. However, this is a little bit advanced, which I cover at the end, and so you'll understand it when I go over it later. So I'm not going to get into that right now. But this is how you would go grab. Again, nothing really exciting here, right, using the query select, other than I can use the same QuerySelectorAll for everything and not have to go back and find, is it the class ID or the class name or the ID or the name or the tag name and whatnot, and be switching it around. Having it just have one, I really like that, right? It's just a lot easier. So let's turn off radio checkboxes. Now let's say you wanted to get an element. Now elements, there's a lot of different types of elements. Let's come in here, and let's say it was just the first input tag. So this would be equivalent to the tag name, the very first one. If I would remember to save it, it'd be great. So here's the first input tag, right? And it's given us the outer HTML. Again, you can change these to inner HTML, outer HTML, inner text, value sometimes. It depends on what the field is. But this will get you the first input tag. But what if you wanted the first paragraph? Right? So here, this first P, it's going to find the first P tag and go grab it, right? Or again, you can iterate right here, right, and change it. Or let's say you wanted the first, here's where it gets a little interesting, this pound sign, so pound header container. So see how this ID says header container, right? So the pound sign is equivalent to saying, give me the ID header, the first ID header that has header container, right? And if I want class name or class, depending how you look at it, that is when you would put a dot. So a dot represents class name. So if I go to this, so here you'll see social icon somewhere in here. Where's class, social hover, class, social icon. So here we go. So there's this one, right? So it gets it that way. So these are just getting, if you just know the element, right? Which again, nothing really great there, because we have the get element by ID, get element by class name, and tag names, right? Nothing too fancy there, but I'm just demonstrating how to do it. So bear with me. Now let's go to when you have both class and attributes. So now, let's say I want social icons class, but I only want to get the one who has a title of LinkedIn, right? So this is how you put it in here. You put the period here for the class name, and so period is find class, right? And then you put it in brackets, and you put title. So this is going to be the attribute title, and where the title equals LinkedIn, bring that back to me and give me the outer HTML. So notice here, title is LinkedIn. This is case sensitive, by the way. If I changed that, it wouldn't have pulled that back. However, it gave me that specific one, right? So basically, I said not only give me where the where the class is social icons, but give me when the title equals LinkedIn. So I can be much more specific on what it's just easier. I think you can do this as well in the other ones, but for me, once you start playing with it, this has even more options for tweaking it. So, oh, and I can get rid of that screenshot, sorry. Let's say you want one or the other, right? So I want either where the div is followed by HFeed or the div is followed by this A2 button. I can put in a comma, and I don't think you need the space, but it'll look for either one. And so for this one, it picked up the HFeed, and actually I think it brought back, if I could figure out where it was, but I'm not going to worry about it, it brought back both. It looks for one, or no, maybe it is. It's just the first one, whichever one's first, because it's an or, right? And this is just the first one. If I did this and put that into an object and then iterated over it, I would have got both. But in this case, it's just saying, hey, give me the first one when it's either this or this, not both. So that's with class names and attributes. So let's kick out of that. Now let's go with ID and attributes. All right. And we'll comment that out just to be consistent. So here's pretty cool. Oh, and that's actually, sorry, that's this is a comment to myself, but since the IntelliSense coloring is here, I'm going to leave it for a second. Here you can say caret equals, so think about regular expressions, right? Caret equals, of course, this means begins with, right, where you find a substring beginning with, or you can use the dollar equal, and that's for ending with, or you can use asterisk equal, and that'll find the matching substring anywhere in the text. Okay, so let's do an example of this. So here's straight up, this is still the same, where the ID equals header container, right? So this is where the straight up equals. So this one will pull back header container. But what if I want it begins with header-con, right? And then basically anything after it. So it still gets the same thing because that was it still was the first one. But I notice I didn't list the full thing, right? If I had put in header-con here, it would not have found it because it doesn't equal that. It equals this, right? But saying it begins with, I can control for that. Or ends with. Oh, sorry, this is the secondary. So this is when it's in a hyphen separated list. And I was trying to find a place to test it. I didn't get around to it yet. But supposedly this will look when it's part of a dash sequence. This is when it ends with. So the dollar equals is going to find where it ends with container. And again, same one. Or it's star. It's like a wild card, right? So where it has CONT somewhere in the ID. And of course it's still getting the first one. I wonder what happens here if I have another one. Yeah, so some ID container, right? So yeah, so it's you can. This is again, you just increment that to what you want if you know exactly where it is, or just that you can do matching pattern, right? Very very nice to be able to look for, something, not specifically exactly what. I'm trying to remember what the tilde was. I think it had something to do with looks for the word, if I recall correctly. Apparently I didn't add it to my notes, but I believe that is looking for the word contains the full word somewhere in there. And here, again, I'm just demonstrating look for either one of these, either header or prime nav. Let's give this one a try. So I found header. But that's how it's looking for either one first. And again, you could iterate over those. So for ID and attributes, let's go that. Now let's go a little bit deeper and say we wanted attributes and elements. So in this one, I'm looking for the input and placeholder. I have my notes here. Gets the first element having an attribute of placeholder. Boy, do I have that on my page? Apparently I do. And notice here, placeholder. Oh, so this is just saying there is an attribute placeholder. Okay? I'm not saying what placeholder equals. I'm just looking for, it's the input tag, and it has an attribute of placeholder. Right? Sometimes you don't know what the attribute's going to be, but you do know the name of what the attribute is. Whoa. In this one, it's looking for where the type, right? Where type equals, and I specified the type. So it's looking for a script with where the type is text, JavaScript, async, or just text JavaScript, right? That's it right here. And now here, I've nested it, right? So it gets the first title of 18 topics, and then the title inside the TabCloud 3 ID, right? So it only looks inside here, and then it looks for 18 topics inside this. And if you come back to my web page, so this is the cloud tag, right? So it only looks here instead of looking everywhere. Only looks here, and then when it looks in here, then it is looking for something that has 18 topics, which maybe we saw it earlier. I don't recall. Let's save this, reload it, and run it. 18 topics is humor. Oh, apparently I'm I'm not as funny as I am with other stuff because there's only 18 topics that say humor. Oh, look at that, 18 topics. Okay. So I've nested it, right? That's one way to do it. I have some more nesting stuff later, but you're controlling where it's looking, right? So you don't have to have walk down the DOM. You can abbreviate here. And in this one, oh, is that the same? Oh, I'm looking for an href to have humor inside the, again, same thing, I think. Same area. Yeah, tag cloud 3. But where the href has the word humor somewhere in it. And so if you look in here, oh, here it is, humor, right? So I just love being able to do wildcard searches or to say begins with or ends with. It's very convenient. Now if we get into the nesting, this is where it's going to look for where the div is inside an ID and the parent element, and it has to be this greater than means it's a direct child. So I think this, if I said let's see, gets the first div where ID is the parent. Yeah, so it looks at the IDs and finds the first one that has a div as a direct child, not a descendant. Well, it could have been a descendant, sorry, but it's where it has to be a direct child. It can't be a grandchild. So this one, I don't know why. Oh, I didn't change it up here. My bad. All right, so div and then ID. And you can look for siblings. So give me an equivalent where div and ID are siblings, or where div is the parent element. Same thing as this, right? Here, I'm looking for all three of these, any of these three. Gets the first H1, H3, or span, right? So give me any of these. That shouldn't be under nesting, but who cares, right? But that is another way, just separate a common list. And then this one gets the first div where ID is the parent element, which that seems like the one I had before. No, not quite. But Glines, so I'm saying, and Glines, my last name, is in the URL. And so here, there it is, right? So that's how you can do some nesting stuff. And let's come up here. Come back down to advanced. So this is where it also, I mean, depending on what you're trying to do, sometimes these things come in really handy. So you can do like the nth child, right? And you tell it, of course, what number child you want of a list on the first list. And so this one's going to say, give me the first list for, and then give me which element. Oop. So this is the home, I believe. If we come back here and scroll up, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, if I recall. So if I do the second one, it should be automation resources. So if I change this, so see automation resources, right? So this is how I'm iterating down, what is that called? The nodes. And the nth last. So here I'm going to the last child, and I'm saying, and I think if I said 0, it would get me the very last one. Let's test that so I can recall for sure. Nope. So it's 1, and that is going to be the about the Automator team, and so that's this one, right? But what if I say 2? What do you think happens? It's going to go back, and so it goes back to contact the Automator. So it starts here, and this is 1 and 2. So it starts at the back and works your way up, which I think is just awesome that I can jump around. I don't have to do all this stuff of counting everything and getting the last one. I can start from the back. I can start from the top. I can say I only want of a certain type. So this that looks at the type. the nth of type of a certain one of li. Nth last. So all of these, I'm not going to go through each one, but there's the first child, the last child, the only child. So if you wanted to find some that only have one child, I'm sorry, zero, where they don't have any children. Oh, that is one. Yeah, that's one. All right. Then you can jump that way, right? Very cool to be able to do that. Here, I've nested this, so this is the first UL on the page, so it only looks at the first unordered list on the page, then finds the immediate children, and then filter that and only give me the third child. So let's see what this gives me. So it's still giving me basically the same thing, but I have focused very specifically on where to look and told it only to look in a very certain area and to bring back only one little thing of that. Span with no children, that one we did earlier. This, I should have deleted this. I haven't gotten this to work quite right yet. Well, I shouldn't say that. I haven't got it work at all. Input optional. So these are some other ways to get the options and stuff. And image is the child of P. So these are just some other great examples here to play with. But it helps you see how you can control exactly where you want to look. And on a lot of web pages now, they just don't do a lot where they put in the tag names or IDs. I've been using class name a lot because it's great, but the fact that I can write this all out in much shorter, concise, it kind of reminds me of XPath in the abilities to be very specific on where I'm telling it to look. Oh man. All right, hold on. Okay, sorry. I thought I had deleted negation. I don't know why. I must have missed it when I scrolled past it. But so negation, right? Let me get rid of this. Let's say I wanted to get all of A tags, but I don't want any A tags with HTTP somewhere in it. So give me the first one that doesn't have HTTP in it. Oh, look at that. It's my email address. Right, so it went through all of them, but it said bring back any of those that don't have HTTP in it. And let's say we go to loop over these, and I'm going to get them where all the ones that have meta in the name, right? And it's going to dump it. Oh, let me cancel this out. It's going to dump it because I'm putting it to my site output window, right? Oops. So it dumped them all here for me. Right, so these are all the names that did not have meta names that did not have all the names that all have meta in it that did have. Did have. And then I'm gonna say let's remove those that have Twitter. Right, so someone here. So I see all these with Twitter. Right, let's say I want to do that. So I'm going to pull that same list. Okay. And let me go ahead. That other part should stay there. So the only thing I'm doing is I'm going to rerun this, but now I'm running this section. Actually, you know what? Let me do this. I'm going to rerun both, and I'll get rid of this. So now it's going to run both. All right. Now we look at it here. The first run, right, which has the Twitter stuff in it. And notice here it starts over at 1, right, which is the same one as up here, viewport and viewport. But look when we scroll down, let's see, where are they here? These Twitter, which are starting at 35. Notice it just ended there, right, and there's nothing in between. It didn't pull them back, right? So I excluded them by using a not command. So it's just, I find that to be awesome to be able to do stuff like that. I guess I have another one here. Let me comment these out. I assume this does something similar for Facebook. Oops. So give me all the stuff that don't have Facebook. Yep. So pretty awesome and powerful ways that you can do a lot more complex. Well, to me, it isn't the complexity of it. It's that it allows me to be more specific, especially in a shorter syntax. And that's it. I hope you enjoy it, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.